Hey folks, welcome to the show. Rare take 4 for me. I usually do one full take, for better or worse. It keeps me responsible for what I say. I think it's important for me to learn to talk purposefully all in one take and get it done all in one take. Excuse me, and because I don't want to learn how to edit, I don't like technology. I like talking. Excuse me again. Holy cow, Isaac. So until I make money off this channel, if that happens, then I will buy an editor and then I'll do better takes and make these videos better. So maybe you should like, subscribe, and comment more. Yeah, this is your fault, not my fault. Nah, yeah. Anyways, to the game. So Oilers and Vegas are both missing some players. It doesn't excuse anything for Vegas, because if you want to be a hater for the Oilers, you can say, well, Vegas was missing this, this, and this was going wrong. Yeah, you're right, but it doesn't excuse them. Let's talk about what the Oilers were missing. They weren't missing as much as Vegas, but they were missing the most of a single player. They're missing Connor McDavid. He's sitting out for the first time since the fall for undisclosed but likely physical health-related issues. He was present just in the press box with Derek Ryan, and I think the Oilers really wanted to prove themselves without McDavid, which happened. You can see in the title. Vegas, however, they were missing a few players like Chandler Stevenson. I like Chandler Stevenson, but Chandler Stevenson versus Connor McDavid. They were missing some other guys too, like Mark Stone, who's a great player. I love Mark Stone, and they're also still trying to figure out where Hurdle works, where Hanifin works. So they're trying to figure out a lot of things as the lineup just keeps changing for them. So there's not a lot of chemistry. And their goalie, Aiden Hill, it's his first time back since March. He's dealt with his second injury of the year. He does show some flashes of his impressive and amazing self, but it doesn't stand tall this game. So both teams are missing some things, but the Oilers clearly wanted this more. They wanted to not only beat a team that has haunted them in the playoffs, or this last playoffs, just this last season, but also do it without McDavid. The Vegas Golden Knights eliminated the Oilers last year, as you may remember, went on to win the Cup. And the year before that, Colorado Avalanche eliminated the Oilers and went on to win the Cup. So, and the Oilers beat both of those teams in the last 5 days. So that is huge for the Oilers, and one of those was without McDavid. So let's get into the game. There's a bit of back and forth. The control favors the Oilers, but Hill is making some good saves. But Cody Ceci, of all players, does break through via Alec Martinez's skate at the 9-minute, 37-second mark into the first period. It's Ceci's fourth goal of the year, and is assisted by Darnell Nurse and Ryan McLeod. I kind of got to feel bad for Martinez. He is old enough that he's at a point where I think he'll be fine. His game is blocking, is all about getting blocks and all that kind of stuff. So naturally, there's going to be times where the puck bounces off you into the back of the net. I would be surprised if this is the first time it's happened to Martinez. But it still sucks, and it still makes you doubt your positioning, I'm sure. But again, he has been around the league. He's a professional. I'm sure he handled it. Whether or not it's hard to tell. I wouldn't say he had a good game today, but he wasn't alone in that regard. The Oilers purely dominated, though that domination didn't really come through in the first period, though the shots did end in favor of the Oilers. Let me pull that up because I forgot to write it down. I'm going to talk to ramble on because I'm very good at rambling. Shots were 7-6 for the Oilers, so not a big lead. They had one extra shot, and that one extra shot was a goal. So in the second period, that's where Oilers start to become more dominant, and part of it is due to special teams, but that's not till the end, because the two goals they scored in the second period, spoiler alert, were both even strength goals. It's Mattias Ekholm scoring first or second in the game, 5 minutes and 38 seconds in. It's his 11th goal of the year, and he's assisted by Ryan McLeod and Corey Perry. Ekholm is reaching career highs this year, and I don't think that's because he didn't have the ability in Nashville. It's just this is his first time as the number one defenseman. I don't know if he really was coming into the year. There wasn't a clear number one defenseman for the Oilers, and the argument is still there. But Ekholm is one of the number one defensemen, if not the number one defenseman, at least of late. So that is a career high in goals, 11. He also ties his career high with 3 game-winning goals. That is a spoiler alert, but again, you can see the title. He needs one more in these last few games to break that career high, and while it's not incredibly likely, his recent play suggests maybe it is. Anyways, not long after, 2.5 minutes later, Zach Hyman, who doesn't need Connor McDavid, he needs Leon Draisaitl. I'm kidding. He scores his 53rd goal of the year, and he's assisted by Leon Draisaitl and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And then 1 minute and 29 seconds out from the end of the period, Shea Theodore goes off for slashing, but the Oilers do not score in that time. Second period ends 3-0 for the Oilers with shots 9-6 during that period. Then third period begins with the Golden Knights killing that penalty. Before going on the penalty kill again, Braden McNabb goes off for a weird and rare delay of game call. Corey Perry and him were battling in front of the net, and during one of Corey Perry's pushes, Braden McNabb loses balance and pushes the net off of its binds or whatever, and the refs felt like that was intentional because the Oilers did have the puck at the time in their zone, in Vegas' zone, I mean, and felt it was delay of game up and robbed the Oilers of their chance to score. I did mention Corey Perry was being physical with McNabb because it is plausible that Perry intentionally pushed McNabb, and I don't think Perry would have wanted to have McNabb push the net off of the binds, because it does rob the Oilers of a power play opportunity, and it's not like McDavid was there for the power play, so this chance on 5-5 was as good as any. But you could argue it was accidental. But at the same time, it didn't look like Perry pushed McNabb very hard, and you'd have to push McNabb pretty hard. He is one of the toughest customers in the league. So whatever you think of it, the refs felt it was intentional and deserved a penalty. He goes into the box before another kind of weird penalty happens. Jack Eichel goes off for tripping almost a minute into that penalty kill. You could make an argument that Bouchard dove. I don't think he dived on that, but I couldn't really tell if Eichel's stick actually went around Bouchard's skate, but you don't really need to get it around Bouchard's skate or anybody's skate to force them to trip. You just got to knock them off balance and they fall because they're skating. It's not like they're running or walking on concrete or something. So it doesn't take much to get a guy to fall. And if you do think Bouchard dove, you should know that it doesn't really matter because Eichel's stick was still where it shouldn't have been. It was still in between Bouchard's legs. So it becomes a 5-on-3, and 27 seconds after it becomes a 5-on-3, Leon Draisaitl scores his 41st goal of the year, assisted by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman, making it a 4-0 game. And then the other penalty is killed, but not before Vegas scores shorthanded. Keegan Kolesar isn't known for his speed or breakaways, but he does find himself on a breakaway, and the Big Bruiser scores his 7th goal of the year, and he's assisted by William Karlsson and Noah Hannafin. I'm going to turn down my country music a bit. So, too much. Anyways, so there's kind of mixed results for the power play there. You know, they scored without McDavid, woohoo, but they also allowed a shorthanded goal. But anyways, it's not like it gave Vegas too much momentum, and if it did, it was killed by Dylan Holloway in his first game since being in the AHL, not for performance-related issues, more for roster issues, but he's back. And at 9 minutes and 56 seconds into the third period, Dylan Holloway scores his 4th goal of the year, unassisted, unless you want to count Adin Hill. Adin Hill had the puck behind the net, and he sees the Vegas defender coming, so he decides to leave the puck unattended and go back to his net. But before the Vegas defender could get to the puck, Holloway speeds in seemingly out of nowhere, stealing the puck and putting it in the net before Adin Hill can realize what had happened. Well, he did realize what happened, but he didn't realize fast enough, obviously. And then from there, there's nothing of too much note. The Oilers win 5-1 in a dominant performance by McDavid-less Oilers against the reeling and unhealthy Vegas Golden Knights. Shots were very much in the Oilers' favor. Now, the Oilers only had 25 shots. You could say that's a little low, but they weren't shooting much because they didn't need to shoot much to score. They scored on 20% of their shots, and 25 shots is very much forgivable when you keep the other team to 18, which is all the more impressive when the other team is the Vegas Golden Knights, who are, yes, they're banged up and reeling a bit. They're still a very good team who won the Cup last year. So Oilers' defense was absolutely incredible. Vegas had 6 shots in the first, second, and third period. The Oilers, like Vegas, never did have 10 shots in a period. They had 7 in the first, and then 9 in the second, and another 9 in the third. But again, you're not complaining about how many shots the Oilers got when you scored 5 goals. When there is not a lot of shooting, there is a lot of hitting. And that was absolutely the case between Vegas and Oilers, who are both full of prairie boys who like to play the body. There was a total of 84 hits in this game. 49 of them belonged to Vegas, 35 to the Oilers. Obviously, you're going to hit more when you don't have the puck, but still quite a ton of hits for Vegas and the Oilers. Both teams did well in that regard. Only 3 players, besides the goalies, did not record a hit. Bryson and Martinez did not record a hit for Vegas, and Janmark did not for the Oilers. Kolesar, Whitecloud, and McNabb all combined for 19 hits. Desharnais led the Oilers in hits tonight with 5, as he usually does, but Evander was close behind. Face-off slightly in the Oilers' favor at 0.9%. Power play, again, mixed results. 1 for 3 is good. 33.3 repeating percent is good, because I think 25% is kind of the bar. Excuse me. But they also allowed a short-handed goal, but they also scored without McDavid, so I guess glass half full, half empty situation, whatever. They were perfect on the penalty kill because they were 0 for 0. Skinner and Hill, both Western Canadian goalies, had differing performances. They usually do when they play each other, it seems. Skinner was 17 for 18. He was very good. He saved 1 breakaway but allowed a goal on the other one. Otherwise wasn't tested too much, so I didn't put him as a top 3-star despite the 944 save percentage. Again, no diss to Skinner, but it's like, well, he had 17 saves, so it's not a huge performance. Hill, meanwhile, did not have a huge performance either, except in favor for the Oilers. He was 20 for 25. You saw some flashes of his older self, but he wasn't good enough, and neither was Vegas's defense. So Vegas did limit a lot of shots. Their first penalty kill was very good, but also some of those opportunities the Oilers had were pretty high quality, and Hill saved a lot of high quality opportunities, but not enough. He has what is considered by Hockey Reference a really bad start because his save percentage did not meet the threshold. You can't really excuse a game where you go 20 for 25. It's pretty hard to do that. So I do hope he recovers his form, but I'm glad he didn't in time for the Oilers. And if we do face each other in playoffs, wouldn't mind if you don't have informed. You won your cup last year. Anyways, 3 stars for the Oilers. Before I get to 3 stars, I want to give an honorable mention to Mattias Ekholm, who we have always been talking about lately. I really wanted to include him because he did have the game-winning goal, hit, block, and a takeaway, and he was quite excellent today. But he only played 18 minutes of ice time, or 3 seconds shy of that, and that was kind of enough for me to say, okay, I'll replace him with another defenseman, the 3rd-star point. I'm also going to shout out Holloway, who had 3 hits, a goal in his first game back. He was a +3 also in his limited amount of time on ice. And there were some other guys who had multi-point games, like McLeod, who had 2 assists. He's not McDavid, but he does have a Mick sounding or beginning last name. He's very good with puck and playmaking and line carrying and passing. So Oilers' 3rd star was who I replaced Mattias Ekholm with, Darnell Nurse. He had 1 assist. He played almost 21 minutes of ice time, so 3 more than Ekholm, and he had 3 hits, 3 blocks, and 2 takeaways. He was excellent defensively, no matter who was against him. I guess in some ways you can call it perfect. Depends on how high your standard is, because he did not suffer a goal against while he was on the ice. Even strength-wise, I don't remember if he was on for the shorthanded, but I don't think he was. Just really important, and probably the most important reason the Oilers suffocated Vegas's offense. Zach Hyman was your second star. He had a goal, assist, 3 hits, a takeaway, and a monster 64 Fenwick 4 percentage in his 19 minutes and 3 seconds time on ice. First star had nearly the exact same stat line. He also had a goal. He also had an assist. He also had 3 hits. Also had a takeaway. Also had well over 60% face-off or Fenwick 4 percentage. It's Leon Draisaitl. I gave him the edge because he played 8 seconds more and was winning face-offs. He wasn't his usual dominant self, but 10 for 18 is still pretty good. So that's why I kind of just gave him the edge. But you could put Hyman as number 1 if you wanted to say, well, Draisaitl was a power play goal and all that kind of stuff. It was actually kind of hard. It was hard to choose the first star because nobody really had a first star performance, but there was a lot of second star performances in my mind. Maybe I'm spoiled because of McDavid's 3 and 4 point nights. Anyways, so that's it. From a Vegas perspective, it's quite a down night. You can use the excuses if you want, but Vegas players are professionals. They know that they still could have won that game if they well, anything could have happened, and that they didn't. None of anything going wrong coming into it, excuses being dominated in the way you were by the Oilers. Jonathan Marchessault also touches on that. He says, quote, gotta start playing like we want playoffs. And Vegas has won playoffs their entire history, short history, but it does feel like the first time they're not really in playoff mode ever. They seem to be in playoff mode, whether it's preseason, early season, or the playoffs. But not really now. The one time they missed the playoffs was due to a lot of injuries, and they are suffering a lot of injuries, but they should still be good enough to make the wild card, and they'll be certainly dangerous. I'm going to grab my charger. This keeps happening. I thought I would make it not having to use the charger, and I don't like to because it gets in the way. Where's my charger? Do you know where it is? Why not? Oh, there it is. Because it gets in the way and all that kind of stuff. But then I had my rare 4th take, which doesn't happen. But it did tonight. Oh, Arizona and Vancouver are going into overtime. And the reason that's important for Oilers news is because, I don't know if you can hear me very well from over here, it's because if Vancouver does not win tonight, I don't know if they play tomorrow or Friday, but in any case, as long as they don't get 2 points from now until Saturday when the Oilers play Vancouver, the Oilers... Wait, depends on regulation wins, because they'll actually be tied. Because now that they got a point tonight, that means Vancouver is going to at least 104 points, which puts them... No, 105 points, which puts them ahead of the Oilers, by 2 points. So now that they've... No, wait. Yeah. So who's got more regulation wins is what it comes down to. Vancouver does with 48. So Vancouver does have the tiebreaker. So now that they got the point tonight, their division lead isn't in shambles or isn't going to be on the line Saturday night, but it would likely have a huge decision on who's going to take first place in the division that game. So it should be a good one. And this one was excellent for the Oilers. And it was great that they were able to beat not only a team that kicked them out in the playoffs just last year, but a very good team, even with their issues going on without McDavid. And so there's just lots of positivity for the Oilers, and there has been lately. They're absolutely in the zone heading towards the playoffs, but in the meantime, we'll see if they can catch the division. And in the meantime, I'm probably going to do another Coyotes video tomorrow. If not, that's okay. There's lots out there, but I'm happy to give my takes because I think I do have a unique view. If you saw my other video about what should be called the Utah Raptors, then you know where I stand. But I'll probably get more into the history of the Coyotes. Brief history. Brief by my standards. Anyways, that's it for night. Have a good rest of your day, night, morning, afternoon, or noon, wherever you're at. Thank you for tuning in. liking. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, actively like it on YouTube. It certainly helps my confidence. All that. Leave your comments, whether they're nasty or not. It's good to see them, and even best, subscribe and turn on notifications. But whatever you do, hope you enjoyed it and have a good rest of your. I already said that part. I'll see you when I see you next. Why won't you?